Hey everybody, Derek here with Fun Center TV, part of the FEC network. Welcome back. In this episode, we're continuing with part 2 of our conversation about strategic design and your family fun center, specifically finishings and details. In the last episode, we ended on FEC design as a collaborative process between you and as many key players and team members as possible. And so far, I'm sure most of this seems pretty logical. But you'd be surprised what we've seen from some architects and designers. When it comes to architects, this is an area where many new developers default blindly to the creative experience of their architect, as new fun center developers get caught up in the what can be versus what needs to be and let the design process get out of their control. Keep in mind, this is your project, and in my opinion, it is in your best interest to be both artistically and financially involved with every step of the process. Once a base understanding within a design-architectural relationship has been established, then passing some creative freedom forward makes sense. In many cases, this may be the first fun center project for an architect or designer, maybe even the first retail project, so issues surrounding traffic flow and finishings can be challenging for designers and architects to get their head around when it comes to your family fun center. Making revision after revision to your architectural plans because they didn't understand what you want costs you time and money. If you work with a design architect, take the time initially to explain your project concept, your target demographic, your expected traffic, both the highs and the lows, how you and your staff expect to use the space to manage parties, events, maintenance, cleaning, etc., and your budget and the kind of design you're looking for. Is it a fun cartoony place with bright colors and soft edges to attract infant to 8-year-olds? Or does it require more muted tones and hard accents for an older crowd? Spend some time talking about the kind of experience you want your guests to have when they enter, what that looks like, how it sounds, where people will initially congregate. Quick story, when I started my career working at the Laser Tag Center way back in the 90s when Netscape was still cool and nobody had heard of the Google, we had an L-shaped front counter that was in a pretty tight space. However, on paper, it looked like it would be of good design and functionality. Guests come in the door and pay for their parties or book a party here, and you have all this other area for other services and guest support. But under operations, it was a completely different story. That counter welcomed guests coming in the door. It served as a counter for players signing into the next game. It served as the counter for players coming out of the arena to get their scorecards. It served as the general needs counter for guest questions and service, and it served as the counter for drinks and munchies. Wow. So on some busy weekends, we often experienced 40 to 50 people a time trying to get serviced, and worse, trying to pay for a game or book a party. Now, thankfully, I had nothing to do with that design, but I did learn a lot from that experience. Most importantly, the ease of traffic flow in and around your center and creating a quick and easy way for people to pay. When looking at your fun center floor plan, are there hot spots that will draw large amounts of traffic that need to be designed into the flow of the area? Your front counter, maybe your game room, into and out of party rooms and corridors on busy weekends for staff servicing, other attractions, and potential bottlenecks. And conversely, are there cold spots or blind spots that may be concerns for parents with smaller children? Are there stairs and or corridors involved? What do the lighting need? And are there concerns for sight lines and visibility? Are the washrooms easily accessible and visible for parents? We often find a disconnect between the design architect and the fun center's startup budget. Some architectural firms may be used to free rein when it comes to their designs, including building materials and finishes, and that can lead to unnecessary budget overruns. Before spending time with a design architect, do yourself a favor and get to know the building materials and finishes that are available to you. Stroll through your favorite home improvement store and check out the wide variety of fixtures, flooring, trim, different materials and fabrics, even paint, and the wide range of costs associated with each different grade of quality. Talk to the guys on the floor and ask them about application, the quality and capacity of those different grades to stand up to a lot of traffic and abuse. In high traffic areas areas like walkways and corridors, it pays in the long run to have quality. For other areas, maybe up high or out of reach or out of sight, a grade or two lower won't matter so much and can be a huge cost savings. In speaking with many new fun center entrepreneurs, they come to the idea loaded with initial concepts and visions of 4-star luxury and top-line options. The best advice from those who have done it is to design to your market and their expectations for aesthetics within your budget. For example, if you're in a high-density area with lots of competition and an upscale demographic, the design and finishing expectations are going to be higher than, say, a new fun center located in a primarily blue-collar area without any other fun center options for miles around. Your design task is to try to define your main theme and point of activity with some wow factor, lighting, fabric, theming, appropriate finishings and fixtures, while finding ways on the not-so-obvious peripheral to design down by a grade or so. In this way, cost savings can add up and have a significant impact on your construction budget. Another area for savings is to look locally. If you want to put a nice big mural in the lobby, there may be an art school with a generous amount of local talent who would love an opportunity to work with a cool new fun center. And even better, if you work up some kind of school challenge for a design winner, you can probably get some free press in the process. Whatever the case, always try to find ways to substitute finishes and grades wherever you can while still maintaining the integrity of your project. The idea is not to cheap out and build the cheapest fun center you can. Remember, this is a guest experience business. A cheap experience brings cheap patrons. Cheap patrons eventually leads to discounting, and ongoing discounting eventually leads to the death of your business. I believe our obsession should always be looking for ways to innovate and add value, including your party packages, weekday specials, unique events, or community spirit you can generate on those slower days, and that thought process begins with your design and planning. In my opinion, one of the easiest ways to ensure you maintain good margins is to obsess about adding value. With a little bit of your own research and creativity among your team, designers, contractors, you can find ways to use the existing bones and utilities of your location along with some strategically placed downgrades to save thousands of dollars while still providing a class operation. So that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you found it time well spent. Let us know what you thought, or if you have some ideas for future shows in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss any of this good stuff and episodes to come. If you have other questions or want to discuss your project goals without obligation, feel free to contact us direct on any of the channels below. Stop by our Facebook page and say hello. I'll send you a copy of our 10-page FEC business guide. And if you're looking for amusement catalogs and other resources, stop by the Family Entertainment Center. Request link is in the description below. And for more resources and startup support, stop by the Fun Center Academy. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep moving forward.